Just going off of that for a second, you said earlier, reiterated that the U.S. doesn't support a full-scale invasion into Rafah. What about a limited invasion into Rafah?
So I'm not going to speculate on the types of military operation.
It's not speculating. The Israeli government has said limited.
I'm about to answer, Kylie. So there are proposals that we have put on the table, and this is why I'm not going to talk about some of this publicly. There are proposals that we have put on the table to the Israeli government that we have discussed with them that we think would be a much more limited, much more targeted, much more effective way of achieving their legitimate military objectives, which is taking on the Hamas battalions that are remaining in Rafah. Those look very different than the types of operations that we have seen proposed publicly by the Israeli government, and I think I'll leave it at that.
So just to be clear, what you've proposed to them isn't your understanding of what they're planning to go ahead with in the near future?
I'm not going to speak to what they might be planning to go ahead with. I'll let them speak to that. We've seen the announcement they made today about evacuation orders for not the entire southern Gaza, not the entire Rafah area, but for a significant portion of it, 100,000 people. And of course, we have concerns that any evacuation at all in such a crowded area, if you see 100,000 people move, you're going to see other people in the next area move as well, which of course is something that you want to see happen if there's a military operation. But the problem now is there's such limited places for them to go inside Gaza, and there is no effective way to distribute aid to them and make sure they have access to shelter, access to sanitation in the places that they would go if, say, you had hundreds of thousands of people moving from Rafah.
And then, without characterizing the Hamas response, given you guys are still reviewing it, would you say it's a hopeful sign that they have given a response here?
I think that would be characterizing it, so I'm going to decline to do so until we have completed that review.
And when do you think you'll be able to complete that review? When should we expect an assessment from the administration?
The Director Burns, as I said, is in the region literally working on this right now. I don't want to put a timetable on it, but it is something that is a top priority for everyone in this administration, from the president on down. You saw that the president had a phone call with Prime Minister Netanyahu today. Achieving a ceasefire deal that would lead to the release of hostages was one of the top priorities of the Secretary's trip when he was in the region last week. So everyone is focused on this. Everyone is trying to get a deal over the line.